Hey there folks, Santee at the Ears on the Ghost Raiders here. Jim Miller, the Old West assassin. Let's check it out.
Killer Miller?
That's him!
He's here?
He's here!
Oh, that's terrible news. We gotta get ready. That fella's dangerous.
I know!
Yeah, we talk a lot about Old West outlaws and lawmen on this channel. Seems to be a never-ending supply of them, so why not? James Brown Miller was born on October 25, 1861 in Van Buren, Arkansas. Shortly thereafter, his father moved the family to Franklin, Texas. 3 years later, his father died, and his mother moved them to Event, Texas. Reconstruction Texas was a rough place. There were many economic and labor issues, and the state was in general turmoil. That stress on families and communities produced some desperate and violent people. When Jim's grandparents were found murdered in 1869, 8-year-old Jim was a prime suspect. Now, this is a bit shocking, and I have no real information as to why a third-grade level child would be accused of this terrible deed. Regardless, he was never convicted, but now it's out there. His violent side rears its ugly head in 1880 when Jim was arrested for shooting his brother-in-law with a shotgun. It wasn't self-defense, for the man was sleeping in bed. Miller almost spent his life in prison for that, but was released on a technicality. Joining an outlaw gang seemed like the next thing to do, and he was soon robbing stagecoaches. Killing seemed pretty easy for him, so he marketed himself as an assassin. This was lucrative, and some accounts say he charged more than $1,000 a hit.
Went into business for myself. I'm a professional killer.
Oh, do you have to do postgraduate work for that, or can you jump right in? I'm curious.
Just like before, he used a shotgun and did the deed at night. This career earned him the nickname Killin' Jim Miller. This psychopath apparently was a God-fearing fella. He didn't drink or smoke and attended church regularly, earning him the nickname Deacon Jim Miller. In 1888, he married a relative of another Texas troublemaker, Sally Clements, and they had 4 children. This earned him the nickname Married Jim Miller. Okay, that last one wasn't a nickname, I just made that up. Sorry.
It's a lie! It's a lie!
As you can probably guess, family life didn't encourage Miller to settle down, and he was still out doing nefarious deeds.
You're a psychopath.
No. Psychopath kills for no reason. I kill for money. It's a job. That didn't sound right.
As we've discussed in the past, sometimes law in early frontier towns was made up of men who were not afraid to use guns, and you didn't ask them any questions. This was the case in 1891 when Sheriff Bud Frazier hired Jim to be his deputy in Pecos, Texas. Sometimes the problem with hiring this element is that they abuse their power and break the law. Well, that's what happened with Miller, and eventually turned into a feud with Frazier. At one point it came to a gunfight where Jim was shot numerous times in the chest and lived. You see, Miller was known to wear a long frock coat which he'd sewn an iron plate into for protection. This served him well a couple of times, but he eventually shotgunned old Sheriff Bud in a saloon in Toyah, Texas in 1896. Amazingly, Killin' Jim Miller was not sent to prison. Well, like a mafia movie, the key witnesses ended up dead before testifying, so yeah. This was becoming a regular thing with Jim, and he moved around murdering folks for money and getting away with it every time. One of the assassinations he was accused of was Sheriff Pat Garrett, who killed Billy the Kid. Finally, it all caught up to Jim Miller. In 1909, one of his targets lived long enough to not only identify him, but put a price on his head. Miller and his accomplices were arrested and thrown into jail in Ada, Oklahoma. On April 19, 1909, a lynch mob stormed the jail and strung up the entire gang. When it was Jim's turn, he said, "Let her rip," and stepped off the stool. Although history books list Jim Miller as a gunfighter, I think we can safely assume that he was really the Old West's most prolific hitman.
What have you been doing with your life?
Professional killer.
Oh, good for you. It's a growth industry.
Well, folks, that's it for another episode. Thanks for watching. Big shout out to all my patrons over there at Patreon. For $3 a month, you can get some behind the scenes, some bloopers, some fun stuff, and you're also supporting the channel. So, go check it out. As always, please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on down the trail.